Still, Gumushi, a phenomenal player of the Xayah, and now with a lot of extra control over the bottom side, pick potential added if this Elise is indeed picked up. I really like going for double range so you don't get countered. Still,
I wonder though,
different options.
If they go for the Elise, does Palu just try to counter it with another range support like the Karma or something like that? Because they don't have a great front line, and their engage is relatively decent. Like, it's not the safe tank engage, but you've got Ambassador, you've got Ahri. They could play Karma here and just crush the lane and say the Elise has no value here, but the Rel is just such a comfort pick for Palu. This is going to mean the lane is going to be very difficult to play out if Keria plays the Elise well, which at this point Elise is no longer just a niche pick that only a few of our upper echelon supports play. Everyone is playing it, and Keria is in the upper echelon, so you know he's going to pilot it well. Palu knows how to deal with this, but I do think the draft here for T1 is very short range. It is very difficult to win from behind. It's very difficult to set up on objectives from behind. But the added safety the Xayah gives you, I do really like, because they could have changed this into a completely different comp if they had
him from having his day. So a lot of pressure now on the young player on the Bros. See how it goes. We jump into the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, Bro fans needing to raise their voices just a little bit. However, we are on the T1 side of LoL Park today.
T1 a little quiet today, to be honest.
A little bit quieter, that's true. Because I wasn't entirely deafened. Still, there's a lot. There's a lot of bums in seats here in LoL Park for this match. As the Bros lead 1-0. And Cocoon, that's what you were talking about. Find hype with it. Not a lot of follow-up there, as we could see.
Fortunately, not at level 1.
Yeah. That's all right, Palu just going to crash in. Level 2 gained by both teams, but Gumushi going to have to cleanse off the Ignite, the flash forward, and they are gunning for him. There it goes. Keria likely to be able to take down Hype here. Let's see whether they can actually get it done, and he does. Is a Shattering Strike going to be available? The answer is no. So a 1-for-1, both AD carries dead.
And used to range, but they get the clash out of Keria just the same. And Doran gets a solo.
Yeah, Doran's just going to solo kill the Ambessa. And I'm not even surprised. I know people are saying that Doran's not necessarily... He's playing Gwen!
Yeah.
Jace was up, guys!
Yeah. They did choose to not play Jace.
Yeah.
But they'll have blue side if they lose this one, so maybe things will change. I don't know if it'll be open, though. So we'll watch how this did transpire as Morgan goes into the queue.
Misses a bunch of buttons, and then Doran 1-2 stacks. Boom.
Yeah, that was the kind of redemption level you're looking for from Doran on this Gwen pick.
Available. They're going to pull this one back as Morgan fighting once again. Has at least hit some of the buttons this time, but oh no, the flash gonna have to be invested. And Doran used his for the last solo kill, so he's not gonna get another one, but this time gets the flash out of Morgan, and the wave is doomed, exactly.
Yeah, Doran set that up by just pulling the wave closer to his turret. Morgan cannot actually interact with the wave without actually fighting Doran, so yeah, and I think Palu was a player that we always knew it could set up good engages in team fights, and I think he was more known for that than he was for his early laning or his early roaming. And I think that just comes with experience, right? And he's been in the LCK for a while now. His closer...
Yep, Spirit Rush going to be picked up. Great Charm going to connect, though. And that is going to stop Faker and Owner and Keria from being able to take him down. Still, Humbug, I don't think, is going to be able to take this Dragon, as Doran moving on up towards the rest of his teammates. So daggers are going to be landing here, as the Hot Dog is still circling. But so is Keria. This control ward going to be very important, as he's able to at least front flip away.
Still has his unstoppable, or untargetable rather, if he wants to all in for it. For the 50-50, I don't advise it though.
Yeah, you can see Doran actually going to try and snip him. And we'll take a fair bit of damage here, as Morgan on vision right now. We'll be able to clear that one out, but still the rest of T1 able to move themselves back. And... okay, never mind. Goes inside the mist here as now some needlework comes out. Morgan still trying to dance around this one. Does avoid a fair bit. And now the public execution going to come in. Doran could be in trouble. The crash down is beautiful, but still, Owner is going to turn up in the nick of time. And Polo is also going to bite the dust.
Remember,
let's just stop trying to fight in this lane, guys.
Yeah, no, I like, on A, he's telling her a secret, which is that they were never going to kill Gwen in that situation. His closer...
yeah, flash has to be burned there.
His closer gets away. Yeah, I mean... I didn't clear that ward,
live. Okay.
Owner and crew are grouped up on these grubs, and with the dragon already secured here for T1, you know, Bro don't get a cross-map opportunity. And I think they learned last time from trying to punish Doran on the other side of the map that it's probably not a good idea. And really, it's just like game one. The only lead is closers in the mid lane. There are some ways to win fights later on, obviously here for Bro. The gold lead is 1,000. It's significant, but it's not an unplayable game. The Ezreal is not going to come online until much later when he gets his second item, Spike.
As Closer going aggressive onto Faker once more. Polu not really finding an angle, though, as we could see there. And now Carrier moving over. Closer pretty far up. Phenomenal sidestep there from the Ahri. And Faker going to grab himself the Magnet Storm. Charm going to go wide, but still, Closer able to get himself out of the way before that CC could really land.
Closer.
This guy's Ahri is looking for a situation last week.
You know.
I mean, Closer has been kind of doing it for a while. I mean, he's the reason why they were Kesper Cup champions this year. But
you
still,
he
might just get Caster Cursed out of this game. That is on us. That's our bad, ladies and gentlemen. We will take full responsibility. And I'm so sorry on behalf of all of the Bro fandom. It's not really going to be enough. And T1 getting into positions earlier, being able to lock down all of the objectives. You can see 3 out of 3 grubs in the first pack so far. 2,000 gold the lead, and they took the first dragon. Nice little tank there by the little hot dog, as Closer taking a fair bit of damage here from Faker. And the dragon continuing to go down lower and lower. Humbug wanting to get in there, try and challenge his Hype now. Getting himself set up as now Closer's come on over. They're not going to find the dragon. Owner as well is going to get caught up in that Magnet Storm. Apollo is now by himself. Faker looking to come over and try to assist as Closer is in trouble. Chain's going to connect, and it's a double just out of nowhere here for the Pantheon. Hype having to flash, and T1 just winning everywhere.
Yeah, I want everyone to take a picture of that fight when Closer was in alone.
And
just so
like you were saying, went a little bit too far, but he bypassed the 2 carries that were sort of just chilling. So that could have been an option instead. I mean, still, hindsight is 2020.
Sure, T1 now have like all of the objectives.
Yes.
6 grubs, 2 dragons for Mountain Soul, which Gwen and Pantheon are going to love. Even Silas is going to be pretty happy about that.
But on top of that, they also have 8 kills. Like, it is a massive lead just in the amount of control that they've had, and they've won decisive.
And Morgan won the 1v1 game, but this isn't the 1v1 game that we are playing here. Or sorry, not Morgan, Closer.
Yes.
Won the 1v1 game, but that's the only win they had, and then Faker picked up a second kill in that last fight. Now he's ahead as Hambach's trying to force.
Yeah, gonna throw some daggers towards Carrier, who goes into Spider Form, and then tries to get out, but that's going to deliver the kill over to Morgan. Closer looking for a charm, doesn't connect it onto Doran there.
That's how you use your side lane prio, I guess, is to TP down, force a fight, and grab a turret, as Doran will not be able to defend this. And if he tries to, I think he will regret it.
Yeah, well, he's going to try and come on over, of course. Gwen is immune sometimes, and Owner is just able to turn up at a moment's notice, still taking a lot of damage as Morgan trying to utilize that mobility to get himself out of there. The rest of T1 have moved over. The public execution going to be used as the 1v1 will be lost by Morgan, because Owner is extraordinarily strong here. And I like that T1 just left Owner for the 1v1. They were like, you got this, bro. And he's like, yes, I absolutely do.
Well, it looked like it was going so well for Bro, but Owner once again just has that ultimate, can join. Faker still had his TP. So even though they committed Closer there with the prio, you know, it meant the Faker could just come in whenever he wants.
And I did feel like Bro had themselves a decent team composition if this Gwen didn't get out of control. And unfortunately, the Gwen got out of control, but so did everything else.
Yeah.
And Owner is really running the rift right now on this Pantheon. I feel like this guy is just a POM farmer. I think he's on track to get it again if this game continues the way that it's going.
The 1-3 Ambessa is still not a Jace, still a concern.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the thing that keeps coming back to bite us. Now 1 versus 2, and Doran is pushing both of them away.
Getting a flash.
My God. Okay, fully stacks up that Q once again as the rest of the bros are coming on over. Carrier not able to walk through the enemy jungle with as much impunity. Minion wave is going to get shoved over, and T1 now making their way in.
Bounties.
A lot more scary.
Bounties are up here. And Morgan, I don't think so, my man. I'm gonna press X to doubt.
Yeah, well, Humbug is at least waiting. Carrier going to move over the ward here, as we can see some daggers are going to land, but Doran in the 1v1 feeling pretty good. Polu rotating over as well. At least this time Morgan doesn't die, but it is still going about the same direction, as public execution going to be avoided there, as now Doran gets into the mist, but so does Humbug, and the rest of T1 are going to show up. Here's the Grand Starfall, as well as Ona is wanting to pick his poison. Choose who is going to be dying first. It will be the Neferi, his opposite number, as the chains connect, and Faker is just on cleanup duty. Down goes the turret in the mid lane. There's at least something there for hype, but Polo is likely to die. Chainlash not going to come out again, but the charm is going to miss. And Closer, unfortunately, unable to find anything as the teleport in from Doran. Carrier with the flash execute as Closer looks to try and answer that one. And even if Carrier goes down, it is still fantastic here for T1. There's the Orb of Deception. That'll finish off the Spider. Is now Hype just trying to escape from the Gwen.
Yeah, chasing an Ezreal is always hard, but...
He does have flash, and he's walking into a lot of bad guys, so
yeah.
He's just not going to use it.
He might.
He might actually just use it here. There he goes. That was a Feather Storm from Gugushi as well, so not bad.
Sometimes you think your feathers are bigger than they are.
Yeah.
Or reach further.
Oh dear.
Fly further.
Well, Humbug is going to go untargetable for a few moments. Morgan's rotating over, though, and Ona may have overstepped here just a little bit. Magnastorm going to be invested. Shattering Strike comes down. Morgan gets in there now as Humbug still wanting to try and offer some of his damage. As Ona does have flash, does use it to get himself out, and that is going to separate Humbug from the rest of the players. Ona is just running them around the rift right now. The rest of T1 making their way in. The crackdown comes through, and Ona's going to go back in for the stun. Oh, they are so strong. The Pantheon will eventually go down, but now Faker turns up, and he has a public execution that he's picked up. Doesn't even need to use it. Man, Ona is so good at this game.
He's really good, and he's really ahead, as it turns out. And when you're far behind like this, sometimes the play is...
Morgan dashing around here towards the top side. Minute and a half on Mountain Soul as well, Wolf.
Yeah.
This composition lacks a true tank, but they'll probably have one, as Carrier is just going to deny any option of escape, and down goes Humbug as well. He was pretty targetable there, as we could see.
With a Gwen with 6 scrubs, I think Bro, we're starting to think about their Game 3 draft.
Whoa, Faker almost finds the public execution onto Hype there, as this inner turret is not long for the world. T1 looking a little bit angry.
I mean, we might
here
be
in this game too.
Inhibitors here with the Gwen with 6 scrubs. You walk at the enemy, you charge at the enemy in this case, and this might be like the stacked waves that could start to threaten Nexus turrets. I mean, this is really huge here with all the Voidlings taking these out so fast. T1 may consider an end attempt. I mean, who's going to stop him? Who's going to stop him?
So many Void Mites. That is absolutely absurd. So many doggos coming out of the fountain, but I just don't know whether it's going to be enough. Bro just have no money. Look at these gold advantages. It's a 4,000 gold lead in the jungle.
Yeah, it's crazy. Humbug going to have to go untargetable. The waves are cleared, but so much damage has been done to the champions here. And now super minions are going to arrive, but it's going to take long enough to where T1 decide. They'll back away. They'll say, man, we could have won.
But
yeah,
Gimmer is just going to be able to take down this Drake, and that will be Mountain Soul, and that should just be the end of the game.
Yeah, it's the experience that T1 has it, where they could judge this situation and say, all right, well, Mountain Soul is a guaranteed win. We're down 0-1 in this series. Yes, we're up a bajillion gold, but let's make sure that we do our due diligence here and win the game. Otacon, you know, off the table here, but...
Yeah, they didn't get any value out of the Otacon, guys. That is the bro cope.
I guess so.
We can go for there. But T1 just going to take down the last remaining lane that exists in defense here for the bros.
When they have super minions in the base, they can start to actually push to end if, you know, Bro defend poorly.
Yep. And Doran is going to go a little bit far forward and will probably die. There he goes. That's a kill going over to Morgan. Still, the answer was almost there. Faker with the public execution up and available. But that's Bro's just able to punish the top laner here of T1.
Small victory, you know. A little bit less immune than he would have liked, I think, in that situation. But I think the thought process there is that if they spend everything on me, maybe we can follow up. Speaking of following up.
Yeah, public execution going to be used here onto Humbug, who, goes untargetable, but unfortunately will still just die in the air.
A little bit of a Chihuahua situation here in this one.
Yeah. That's right. Carrier is going to answer that with a whole bunch of damage onto Hype, and Ona says, you are just dead, buddy. Is he going to land the spear? The answer's no. Was expecting the juke, and it did not come through. Still, maybe T1 will then instead decide to win the game. True Shot Barrage going to come on down as now Polo setting up the defense.
TP for Doran.
Yeah, Closer actually spirit rushing forward, but that is into the blender. Carrier goes golden. Somehow he's got an arm guard. It's kind of ridiculous. As Polo's flashing away, Carrier just going to follow him. Owner able to push them all the way towards the fountain. Public execution used here from Morgan. He's trying to just get them away from his base. As finally the Pantheon goes down, but so does the Ambessa. And T1 now find themselves in a 3 versus 3. Hijack used here onto the Spirit Rush. And Humbug, what goes up must come down. And now T1 going to finish off game 2. And it is going to go the distance here, Bro versus T1.